Hello plant friends, my name is Victoria and you're watching Plantastics. Today we're going to be discussing one of the essential things to keep African violets beautiful and blooming. That essential thing is deadheading African violets. I'm going to be showing you which violet blooms to remove and how, as well as answering some of the frequently asked questions. So without further ado, let's roll the intro and let's get started. So there's 3 tools that you're going to need. You're going to need some kind of a thing to remove the buds. You can use your fingernails. You can use these. I like these. These are actually cuticle snippers because they have a spring, so they automatically reopen. These are what I used to normally use, but after a while, your hands kind of get tired. You can also use an X-Acto knife. So this next step is not optional. So you're going to want to get alcohol. I get 91%. And then I recently started putting my rubbing alcohol in this little atomizer, and it just sprays the perfect amount of mist to disinfect your tools, and I'll show you. Okay, so let's pretend that I just used these to basically take off some blooms. So I'm gonna go and I'm gonna open them, and it's just so easy. So instead of wiping them off or letting them dry, I'm immediately ready to groom my next violets. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take them out one at a time, and I'm going to lay them on this little table, and I'm going to turn them so you can see which violets need to go and which ones don't. Something else before I go on. So we do something sometimes, we don't always explain why, and that can be kind of confusing to beginners. So the reason I'm disinfecting my tools in between each and every plant is because there are some viruses that can spread from plant to plant, especially in African violets. The most known one and notorious one is INSV, which I'll link here if you're curious or have never heard of it. Basically, it's a virus that once it infects a violet, there's no going back. You've basically got to just toss it. Other plants as well also can spread stuff like dahlias and roses. They all have very variety specific diseases. So anytime I'm pruning anything, whether it's my violets or I'm outdoors, I've got this nice little atomizer that I'm going to link below, and I use it to disinfect my tools in between each and every plant. Okay, so we're gonna get out the violets. Okay, so this is Sneck's Snowy Egret. It has these beautiful elongated leaves and beautiful, lovely variegation. Here you can see it's actually doing really well. So this violet's been blooming for me for 2 months, and you can see that some of the leaves are kind of turning brown. So those are going to be removed, and we're going to remove them because if we leave them on there, the violet will start to put energy into seed pods. Now, some violets are kind of sterile, but basically as soon as they start to fade or tarnish, basically, I usually don't let them get this far, but I figured I would just for this video for you to be able to see. But basically, I like to remove them, and what the plant will do is it's trying to produce seeds. So it will continuously put up flowers to replace the ones that you remove. And I do this with roses. There are some plants that you're not going to want to do this with, but violets are not one of them. So I'm going to take my snippers and okay, I zoomed in so you can see a little bit better, but you can see that one is ready to go. We have a few over here that are starting to fade, but this is about to the point where I like to go ahead and remove them. So we've already disinfected our tools, and I'm going to show you. So there's a stem here, and I'm just going to cut right here. See, it's that easy. And we're just going to go around. This one is the most spent. So there are so many people that they buy their first violet and they feel that when they start to turn this color that they have failed in some way. And guess what? You haven't. Every beautiful flower has a time period where it blooms, and the plant can't bloom forever. So they do fade. And now the plant, see this one? You're going to remove this one too, and you can see where I'm cutting it right there. So I do that because you can see here, these are still going to bloom. Now, if I had an entire stalk that was spent, which I don't, but I think I anticipate having one on another violet, you would just snap it at the base. So you actually wouldn't cut them. You cut the individual flowers, but here you would just snap. So if I wanted to break this one, I would just press down and it would snap away. You do that so the plant doesn't send up suckers. So you can see this one has a few suckers down in here that are starting. Maybe you can't. I'm gonna zoom in so you can see it. Okay, so there's this teeny tiny, now you can see right there. That's the beginning of a sucker. So this one literally grows so crazy. It grows so many little baby plants at one time. So I'm constantly removing them. I do that as well, but I'm not going to be doing that in this video. So I'm just going to be deadheading, but I can show you how to remove suckers if you're interested. So this one's ready to go. So we're going to get down here, see, and snip it away. So we're going to give her one more spin. And we have found one more. Let's see how many more I can find. Just going to take it right there. See. And not every flower is identical. Some of them are just larger. And sometimes they can bruise from me touching them. So this one is ready to go back on the shelf. Next we have Hunter's Primal Scream. So I am going to, you don't want to get it on the violets. Okay, so this one is just absolutely beautiful. And it is in the peak of its bloom. So it actually has been blooming for about 2 weeks. And as I spin, not really seeing anything to remove. So this is an example of one. You can see there's not any browning, so you're not going to do anything with this one. This violet here is called Alaskan Frost, and you can see she has these huge blooms. They can get up to 3 inches across, and here is one of those. So you can just see my hand. This is a monster bloom. So one of the many reasons that I love the violets with the huge flowers is because they're kind of like balloons, and they just take a really long time to open, and I feel like they last longer. Now I haven't timed it to see how many days, but I'm pretty sure that they do. Okay, so this one down here, you can see, is browning right here. So we're just going to remove it. And this one's a larger variety, so you can really see exactly where I'm taking off the flowers. Here's another one. So you can see some browning on the back here. So we're just going to remove that one too. And then there's that one. This one's got a bit of a mark on it, you can see. So here is a great example of one that you can snap off. So this whole thing, you can just snap off. So I'll show you. You're going to hear a snap. And that one is done. So this sometimes happens. If you have it happen to all your blooms at one time, you should probably be alarmed. But if it's just one, you really don't need to worry about it. So this one had something go wrong. And you can kind of see it's just turned brown. So it will never open. I'm going to remove that little bud from it. Let's see. And I believe the rest are good. So we're going to move on to our next one. Okay, so this variety is called Cajun's Little Joy, and this one is one of my favorites, and you can see it is just starting to bloom. So the blooms are very new, they're very fresh, and as we turn, we really don't see any that are fading, and it's just because of the state of bloom we're in right now. And like, give it a week and this will just be covered, and maybe a week and a half and you'll want to deadhead this one. But yeah, Cajun's Little Joy is just fun and doesn't need any deadheading at all. Here is this absolute beauty. Huge flowers, unlike any that I've ever seen on any violet. And this is African Violet Lightspeed. So we're just going to give it a little turn. And the flowers are just, the video just really doesn't do it justice. They're just like you're flying through a galaxy or something. So it does, I guess that's why they called it Lightspeed. So you can see this one, there's not any browning on any of the flowers. So we're gonna leave this one alone too. But I want you to notice something. So this first flower is just kind of flat like your hand is. And then this one has a lot of inner ruffles. And I find that the very first flower, the first time it blooms, sometimes it doesn't look as good as the blooms that will come after it. So if you're scared to deadhead, maybe that will give you a little bit of optimism, because sometimes you have to let go of things for new good things to come. This beautiful variety is called Jolly Fireball. And like all the Jolly varieties I've owned, I absolutely love it. So when they first open, they almost look like peony blooms to me. And I just love them. They open up and they're just so beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. So this one is fully open and you can see we don't have any browning, no fading. So this one's kind of like Cajun's Little Joy in that it's not really far along enough in the blooming cycle to even need to be deadheaded. So we're gonna leave this one alone. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like and comment any tips or tricks that you have, and be sure to subscribe so we can grow together on this channel, and I'll be seeing you next time. Goodbye.